What's good, guys? In this video we are gonna be building a car portal in FlutterFlow, and in this video we're gonna be using a couple of very interesting tools that you can use for pretty much any project. Okay, now before we begin, if you like NoCode, if you want to learn how to build apps without getting into the technical details, without learning how to code, without getting a computer science degree, make sure you smash a like on this video, leave a comment below, and subscribe to the channel. Having said that, let's get started. So this is what we're going to be building today, okay? This is going to be a car portal app. We're going to have a list of cars. We're going to have a screen where they can choose a car. And then there's going to be another screen where you can contact the owner in order to purchase this car, negotiate the price, etc., etc. We are going to be using an API that we're going to build ourselves using our own data that we're going to generate. And this is going to be the scheme, the data scheme here. This is the car entity. We have the ID, the brand, the model, how many miles it has, the location of the car, and the picture. Now, as always, the case is when we are building these apps, we might be modifying this data scheme along the process, okay? So this may change, it may stay how it is. All right, so now you see kind of the architecture and the data scheme, actually data schema. We are gonna go to a tool called Makaroo, and this is a free tool. And this is an amazing tool because we can generate all kinds of data in all kinds of different areas, all kinds of different data types, okay? So let me explain to you. So let's say I'm gonna have an ID, and then I'm gonna have a car brand, I'm gonna have a car model, I'm gonna have, what else do I need? I'm gonna have the miles, I'm gonna have the location, and I'm gonna have the image of the car. Now, what's nice about this tool is that I can actually have a data type. So this is not gonna be the first name, it's a brand. So I can click on it and search for brand. We have the drug brand, but if I type car, we have car make, which is the same thing as a brand. Okay, we're gonna pick car make. For the model, I'm gonna go in here. I already have model here because I had car here, so I'm gonna choose this. For miles, we're gonna type number, and we're just gonna pick a random number, and we're gonna say the minimum is 1, maximum is, 100,000, right? So like, typically it's gonna be more, but that's kind of what we want, 1 to 100,000 miles. Location, this is really nice. So I can pick city, I can pick state. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna pick a state, okay? I'm gonna do abbreviation, and I can pick only US. So it's a very, very cool tool. Then we have an image. So I'm gonna go in here, I can type image, and it gives me a dummy image URL. So this is perfect, okay? I'm actually gonna have random images. So I'm gonna pick that, and I have my sizes, I have all of this, okay? Next thing I wanna do is I wanna pick the number of records that I wanna generate. So there's 1,000 rows, but that's too much. We're just gonna do 50. Format the CSV. Everything we're gonna leave on defaults, and we're gonna say download data. So it generated and downloaded the data. So if I open this up, this is what I'm seeing here. Okay, we have the ID of the car, we have the car brand, the model, the miles, location. This is the state abbreviation, and an image. Okay, and I can add more things. I can have the owner's first name, last name, but for the purpose of this tutorial, this is fine. You guys can add more fields later on as you wish, okay? Now, once we have the CSV here, next thing we want to do is we're going to go to a tool called Retool. This is an amazing tool. It's not just even one tool. It's a suite of tools. We're going to scroll all the way down, and we're going to choose API Generator, okay? We're going to pick this option here. We're going to say Get Started. And here it wants us to upload a CSV file. So we're going to drag and drop that CSV, and then we're going to hit next. And it's going to analyze it for us, and it's going to create this table here. It says edit data. Click on the column header, and you can select data type. You can auto generate. So I can add more columns if I wanted to here. But because we already were using this other tool called Makaroo, we don't need to do a lot of data modification, data altering, or anything like that. We have all of this here, and this is perfect, okay? So what are we gonna do with this data? Well, we're gonna hit next, and we are gonna generate an API, and we're gonna say API name is just gonna be data, or I'm just gonna say or cars, right? I'm gonna say generate API. And what's it gonna do is it's gonna take all this data, the CSV file that we uploaded, and it's gonna create an API. It's gonna host it itself on its own website. And now we have an API. So we don't need to import this data into our own internal database or use Firestore DB, Firebase, Firestore DB, any of that. We have the data and we can get it, we can post it, we can, add new records, we can alter records, we can delete records. It's a full feature API. Okay, so let me show you. So if I click on this, I see all my records here, right? This is the API. So this is the first car, Ford F-150, Volkswagen Rotan, Dodge Ram 1500. These are actually real brands and real models, right? This is legit. And this is how much miles they have. This is like a random number generated. And we have location, the state. So we have everything, right? So we have the API. And it took us really, really quickly, okay? And the first step is done now, right? We always want to start with the data. Once the data is done, we're going to start building the app. So we're going to go to our dashboard. We're going to create a new project. We're just going to call it a car portal app. We're going to do a blank app. We're going to do next step. And we don't need Firebase because we have the data. And now we're going to go in here and we're going to create a couple of pages. Okay, we have the home page. We're going to do a car detail page. Okay, and we're going to do a contact page. Okay, so now we have 3 pages. We got to start from the home page. Okay, so we're going to go in here. We're going to go to the hierarchy. We're going to start at this column. What we want to do is we want to add a list. Okay, a list view, and inside the list view we're going to have cards, right, or some kind of an object. We can build it ourselves, right? We can have a text, we can have an image and all that. But what are we going to do? We're going to go to this thing here, this template tab here, and we're going to scroll down and we're going to look for car details. We're going to pick this car details. Now, before we can actually get the data, we need to define our API. So we're going to go to the API tab. We're going to add an API call. I'm just going to say cars API. It's going to be a get, and we're going to go back here and we're going to copy this thing, paste it here, add call, response and test. We're going to say test API, and we're getting the data, and it's 200 success, so it's perfect. That's all we need to do. We're going to say save call. We're going to go back to our app. Now in the home page, what we want to do is we want to go to this backend query tab. We want to go in here and we want to say API call. We're going to pick our cars API. We're going to say confirm. Next, we want to go to the list view, and inside the list view, we want to go in here. It says generate dynamic children. We're going to click here. We're going to call this items. I always just call it items because that's really what it is, items. We're going to click here and we're going to say cars API response, JSON body, confirm. Okay. So what that is going to do, and we're going to hit confirm. We're going to say, okay, what that is going to do, it's very important to understand. I'm sure many of you are going to be making this mistake, is that if you look at our API, you see it's square brackets. That means it's an array of objects. And we don't want to get an array. What we want is that that list of objects. And that is why here we're taking that array and we're breaking it up into basically objects that we can work with. Okay, and now we have a list. So now if you run the app, we're gonna see a repetition of these cards here. All right, so here's the app. Okay, it's basically repeating it, but it's not displaying anything inside it. This is good because we want it to repeat. That means we're loading the data correctly. It's just now we just need to replace the name of the page here. We need to replace these items with what we actually want. But it's very important that you guys keep testing it along the way to see if you made any mistakes. Okay, we're gonna close this. We're gonna go back to the app. I'm gonna say home page, and here I'm gonna start changing the stuff. Okay, so if I click on this thing, in fact, this could be a nice one for the brand. This is gonna be a model. This is gonna be a brand. So I'm gonna click on this thing. It's a text. As you can see, it's basically a column with 3 text elements, arranged in a vertical way because they're part of a column. They're not part of a row. We're gonna click here. We're gonna say set from variable. We're gonna pick items item, and we wanna pick JSON path. And this is where we need to enter the path. Okay, so if you don't know what the JSON path is, you can simply Google for JSON path, and you're gonna have this JSON path evaluator. Okay, and this is a good tool for testing. So you can take all of this, you can paste it in here, and then you can play with the JSON path. All you need to do is enter $, period, or dot. So for instance, in this example, we have an array, so I can reference the first element in the array, the first item here as 0. They start from 0, and I can say image, or I can say car brand, and it's gonna display Ford here. Okay. Now, in our example, because we already got the items, we are not working with an entire array. We're working with each individual item. We don't need the 0 anymore. We can just say $ dot car brand. Okay? Car brand, car model. So for this is going to be car brand, I'm going to say confirm. And this one, I'm going to say car model. So I'm going to say JSON path dot car model. Confirm. And now if you run the app, it should correctly substitute these for the right data. So let's run the app and see if that works. And here you can see the app has launched, and as you can see, it says Ford F-150, Volkswagen, Rotan, Dodge Ram. Now we can continue changing some of the things. So we can change the image. We can maybe have a call to action button here in case, you know, they want to learn more about this car. So let's go back. Let's change the image. Click on the image, go to set from variable, items item, JSON path, and we're going to say image. Now the image is going to be whatever the image we have generated. Next, what we want to do is we want to have some kind of a call to action, meaning like we want them to click so they go to the next page. Okay. Now, before we do that, we want this car detail page to receive a bunch of parameters. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to car detail. I'm going to go to the hierarchy, and I'm going to enter a card. We're not going to have a list here because we're going to display one car. And so I'm going to go in here. I'm going to display the same thing, this car details, because it really is details. Here, I'm going to display maybe a car model or something like that. Or let's say, and so here is going to be a car model. Okay, and here we're gonna display some details about the car. Okay, so maybe we're gonna have a call to action to contact them, etc., etc. And if you want, we can come in here, we can discard details. This is actually a container, so we can scroll down, we can make it the height, we can increase the height so it's a little bit longer. So I can do maybe 500, something like this, and we can fill it in with more details. Maybe have a big call to action here, etc., etc. Okay, now what do we want to do first? Before we do anything, we want to make sure this page accepts various variables. Okay, so if we go to this page here, we have parameters. We're going to add parameters. So what parameters do we want this car detail page to accept? Well, depends on what you want to do. So maybe we want car brand. This is going to be a string, and let's add another one. We want car brand, we want car model, gonna be a string. We want car location, maybe this is gonna be a string, and we want the image, right? Car image, this is gonna be a URL, it's gonna be an image path. We're gonna say confirm. Okay, so now this detail page accepts a bunch of parameters. That means we can go to the home page and we can do the navigation and we can pass those parameters. But we need a call to action. So lots of things that we can do here, but really what we want to do is I'm gonna go in here, and I have this row, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a button. I'm gonna keep it simple, maybe a button like this, and I'm gonna delete this, and I'm gonna delete this card. So we have a button, I'm gonna center it. Okay, so, and I'm gonna change what the button says. Learn more. That looks pretty cool, right? Or, you know, it could be a button. You can have a button on the image, you can have a button anywhere. I just decided I'm gonna create a button, and we have learn more. We're gonna go to the action, and we're gonna We're gonna add an action. We're gonna do navigate to car detail, and now we can pass the variables. We're gonna say pass car brand is from variable items and JSON path, and then we're gonna say car brand. Car model from variable items JSON path car model, and then the image, right? Pass car location from variable items JSON path location. I think that's what it was. Yeah, it's just location, not car location. We're gonna say confirm. Next we have the car image. We can pick that. We can say from variable items item. We're gonna say JSON path. And now we're essentially passing all the variables that we defined. Okay, now we can define more parameters, but that is kind of what we have so far. And now whenever the user presses the button, they're going to be redirected to the detail page, and those parameters are going to be duly passed in, and that page is going to have access to those variables, and it could obviously populate inside. Okay, so that is kind of what we have. Now if we go back here, we go back to the pages, we're going to go to car detail. Here we can start defining those variables. So I can click on this, I can say set from variable, and I can pick the variable. I'm going to say brand, this one is going to be model, maybe this is going to be location, and this is going to be image. Okay, this is going to be car image. Obviously you can have miles, etc., etc. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to this hierarchy. I'm going to add a button here. I'm going to delete these other elements here. I'm going to center the button, and I'm going to have this button say contact owner or something like this. So we can make this button a little bit longer, something like this. Okay, and you can you can put some padding on the button. You can make it maybe 20, 15 padding, something like that. You can design it any way you want. It's super flexible. Okay, and this contact owner is going to redirect to the next page, this contact page, and this contact page, and here on the column, we can just add our elements. So for instance, let's say I want basically a list of different fields for the user to fill out. So I might have a row like this, and then inside the row, I can have text, and I can have an input text field. And so it's going to look something like this. I can also give it a little bit of padding, and this thing is going to say something like name, like this, and this could be label, could be something like name, or you can have it as a hint, name, and then you can simply take this row and duplicate it, and then you can have maybe email, that way you can enter your email, your name, and the person can contact you like a simple form. You can also wrap this form inside a container, which is probably a good idea to make it nice, maybe give it some padding instead of just a column, right? You can do that, but typically you're gonna have name. So I'm gonna put email here, email, and then we're gonna have a button. Okay, so I'm gonna duplicate this again. I'm gonna go in here, I'm gonna delete this, I'm gonna add a button here, I'm gonna delete this, and we're gonna center this button inside the row. Okay, and this could be contact owner, or send, or something like this. It's gonna be a little form. Of course, you can also you can click here and you can use some of the built-in features, some built-in functionality if you want, but I just wanted to show you how you can do it yourself. Now you may want to customize it a little bit, so the title could be customized, set from variable. You can essentially pass those parameters again. So what I mean by that is you can go in here, you can go to the contact, and you can say parameters, and let's say we want to define one parameter. It's going to be car. Okay, we're gonna say car model is gonna be a string, confirm, and then this thing we're gonna say car model. Okay, now we're gonna pass it in. We're gonna go back here, car detail, contact owner. We're gonna go in here and we're gonna say add an action. We're gonna do navigation to contact, and we're gonna say pass car model. We're gonna say from variable car model, because we're already getting that variable from the previous page. That is kind of what we have, and now it's passed to the contact page. And this contact page could be an API call, it could be, using some kind of an email plugin, or you can connect it to Integromat, and that could send an email to the email on record that you might have for that listing, stuff like that. And so that is kind of what we have. This page title, we might want to have it as a, I don't know, car model. Or you can even do something like this. You can delete it and you can do combined text, right? So first text could be, you can do it from variable. You can say car brand, and then you can add another text, and that's going to be car model. From variable, car model. Okay? Confirm, and that's going to be 1 and 2. So you can do a lot of interesting things. So let's run this app. And let's see if it works correctly. Let's see if it works how we want it to work. All right, so let's run this app. All right, so here's the app. Here's the brand. Here's the model. Here's the image, right? It's a randomly generated image. And we could say learn more. We are redirected. As you can see, we're getting the values passed correctly, the variables. We may want to have a space so we can combine the brand, the space, and the model to get that. Now we can say contact the owner, and this is the name of the car, the name of the model, and we could say James, NoCode. I can say james@james.com, and then we can hit send, and that's gonna do some kind of a workflow. It's gonna create some kind of an action. And so that is kind of how you build an app using built-in functionality in FlutterFlow, and how you can build a really amazing app. Now there's some interesting things that you can do. You can also do user authentication. So if you come in here and you scroll down, you can pick authentication here, and you can enable authentication. So you can do Google authentication, Apple authentication, Facebook, phone, anonymous. You can do all kinds of interesting authentication. That's one. Next thing that you can do is you can combine it with Integromat that I talked about in one of the previous videos. So you can, have it do it correctly, meaning that you're gonna have an app. When they come in here, you might have something else. You might have another thing here, and that could be a third party, connect to third party service, and then you can have something like here, right? This is something else. I'm gonna make it a different color so that you see. And obviously you can display a lot of detail, a lot of interesting things. You can have more columns, more rows, more data, but it's really up to you how far you want to take it. All right, guys, so that is all that I wanted to show you guys today. Really hope you've gotten value here with all the different tools, different features, functionality that we talked about today. If you've gotten value here, make sure you smash the like. Really helps out this channel. More people are gonna see this video, and more people are gonna get value, and more people are gonna create great software. If you have any questions or concerns, comments, anything of that sort, leave a comment below the video. And also do not forget to subscribe to this channel, because I'm going to be talking about a lot of interesting functionality, a lot of interesting features in some of the future videos when it comes to NoCode, FlutterFlow, and many other tools. So thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys in a future video.